Hey y'all, it's Caitlin, and this video pains me to make, almost. So anyone who's been watching this channel, other than despite the fact that I'm wearing a Marvel shirt, my favorite thing to collect is DC Comics. And so I have almost all of the DC pops. Not quite, there's still several that I'm missing. But nearly all the DC pops that come out, I want. And there's been a few that's come out that I want, that I've gotten, but it's not all that impressive. I think all of us have those few pops in our collection that, we like the character, we like the pop to an extent, we're glad that the pop exists, but at the same time, we're unhappy with it. Maybe it's the sculpt, maybe it's the design, maybe it's just the whole idea behind the pop when they could have gone with something else, or maybe it's just the execution of the pop. So we all have ones like that. So this one is my top 5 least favorite pops in my collection. More like it's the most, or DC pops in my collection. And it's more like it's the most annoying ones. Because I know Funko could have fixed them. And before I go any further, this video was inspired by this. It's the new moment. They couldn't even say comic moment on the box. I don't know. But this thing is epic. And it looks awesome. Batman, Catwoman, in Hush. Hush is a phenomenal story arc in the comics. It was recently made into an animated movie, which was equally cool. Or if so, more. I was talking to Franklin about it. We both kind of agreed. We kind of liked the movie a little bit more. But that all being said, taking out of context and someone who didn't know it, this pop looks like something out of 50 Shades of Gotham or something. Like, out of everything that happened in that story arc, this is what they came up with. Like, I would want something of Batman and Catwoman, but maybe not something with her tied up in vine. I mean, doesn't it look like that a little bit? But it's still cool, it's still epic, and I still want it. I don't have it yet, but I still want it. And that got me thinking, what other pops have Funko made that I've gotten that I'm annoyed with? And I found 5. So, let's just get on with it, shall we? So, first one, I don't even know why it's in a soft protector. At one point, it must have been worth at least 30 something. It's not anymore, I can guarantee you. But it is the classic Superman from the DC Legion of Collectors box. Now, honestly, this is the best Superman we've gotten. This is the best Superman we've got. Classic Superman pose. The muscles are all detailed on there, not like the original pop was. They got the swoop of the hair right. It's molded correctly. They got the little symbol on his cape back here. I mean, it's a perfect sculpt of Superman. Perfect coloring. It's amazing. This is Superman. But it's Superman. Here's the thing, I don't mind Superman as a character. He's not my favorite by any means, but he's definitely not my least favorite character either. But when you're subscribing to a collector's box, something that not very many people, I mean, there was a lot of us, but not everyone will be able to get their hands on unless they subscribe to this box. You expect something a little bit better. Now, this was from the Superman themed box, and that was one of the lamest boxes we've got out of DC Legion of Collectors, and this pop was a reason why. So, in that series was also a action figure that looked like Superman as he originally was in the comics. That, to me, was my favorite item in the box. When a Funko action figure tops the pop in that box, you know something's wrong. Here's the thing. It's plain. It's not classic. It's plain. It looks like just about every other Superman pop we've had. Yes, the sculpting is a little bit better. Yes, the colors are a little bit better. But there's nothing really to distinguish these from any of the pop. Remember, this was before Flashpoint, okay? This was before the Flashpoint Superman. There was just nothing to distinguish it, and it was just kind of boring. I was hoping for another character, maybe a villain. Later on, we did get Lex Luthor in the series. Maybe a Metallo, maybe an updated version of Apocalypse. We have the regular Apocalypse back there that came out way before this one. Maybe get a Lois Lane, pop or something. Mm-mm. And if they want to do a Superman, go with a brand new concept for Superman, okay? In pop form, anyway. Make, like, Superman right after he got killed by Doomsday, when he came back from being killed by Doomsday. He wore a black shirt, his hair was a little bit longer. It would be different from this. It would be different from any other Superman pop we got. And for a DC fan, a Superman fan, they would have known exactly what it was right away. And there was a point, I want to say it was either in the 70s or 80s, when Superman, for a very brief period of time, took on this electric blue look. I'll be putting these things here. So that would have looked tremendously different. And there's a lot of variants where there are collectibles of these. It had to have been in the comics, surely. I haven't read this particular story arc. I just know what happened. Where the blue was switched with a red. So what they could have done, they could have made the blue variant the common one, and then make a red variant, the Chase. Like 1 in 6 bosses will get the red Superman. But the fact that they just went with a regular old Superman, granted still a good Superman, but the fact that they just went with a design that does not stand out from anything else we've gotten in the past was just a little bit disappointing. When you want something a bit more dynamic, a bit more out there, something that speaks to you as a collector, that'll stand out more. But anyway, that was number 5. Number 4. Another Superman. Now, I'm not dissing on Superman, I promise. Or else he would have been ranked higher. Remember that. Now, I love the Flashpoint Superman for the same reason I was mentioning. It's different. It stands out from all the other Supermans we've gotten, right? And the Chase variant, which, by the way, this is only the second Chase I ever found in the wild, and I haven't found another one since. But I have a video on my channel where I unboxed this and tested the glow out. So the glow is on his eyes. The regular pop, you can see, it just has the regular black eyes. These ones have the red eyes, and they're supposedly supposed to glow. They don't. I shined a black light on this in the video. You couldn't really see it on camera. I put this thing in my UV light. In my UV lamp that I use for my resin. For a few minutes, pulled it out, tried to take a picture of the glow. It still wasn't strong enough to show up on camera. The design of this pop is good. The thought behind the Chase is actually really good, because, yeah, people will say, well, it's just a small color. It's not even a full color change. It's just the eyes. For the people who know the story, you get it, and it's awesome. But when you don't execute it, like I think I said in that video, I would just rather them just have red eyes instead of just marketing the glow-in-the-dark at this point. And Funko made good glow-in-the-dark pops before and after this. It's not like they couldn't do it, or they didn't know how. They just didn't. I feel like they just didn't test it properly on this pop, and they just let it go into production anyway. So it's just a little bit, again, disappointing when they say something is supposed to be, glow, and it's not. It just doesn't make it as dynamic as the other. It's like saying, well, here's a flocked pop, but there's a big bald spot in the back, It's weird. So again, something that annoys me, you'll see that still in a protector, even though it's worth like 20 something. It's not worth that much. But I actually still really love it, just because, again, it's a different Superman. And I love Flashpoint, and I understand why they made the red eyes the Chase variant. So it's cool. But okay. Number 3. Anyone who has this pop, I feel like we all bitch about the same thing. Or these pops, rather. Joker and Harley, 2-back. Okay. So, long while back, DC did a series called Future's End. Okay, where it was meant to be the storyline jump 5 years in the future. So for a solid month, pretty much all we got from DC were these Future End comic books. And they were really living it up. So, those, what they call lithographs, where you tilt a page and it changes images? They made exclusive, well, not exclusive, but just like one-time only comic covers for all the books based on that. So they were really hyping up these comic covers, right? These pops are based off the Harley Quinn version of that comic cover. Joker is spot on. Everything from the Hawaiian shirts to the rips in the pants to the flip-flops, the only thing he's missing is the gun in his hand, okay, from this comic cover. Harley, on the other hand, Now the sculpt is perfect. They got the little tendrils, on either side of their face. They got the pigtails, got the bikini, even the little, like, what is it, a spear? Yeah, it's like a harpoon or a spear with Joker's hat stuck to it. They got all the sculpting on this right. But the paint is about as far as you can get. So you can even see it in the back here. She's supposed to have pale white skin to match the Joker. And her hair is supposed to be red and black, parted down the side. What happened? I mean, they got the actual image on the freaking box. How? And they got Joker spot on. Who screwed up so badly that they got Harley this far off? I mean, obviously it wasn't the sculpting people did their job, but the color people didn't, or something. I don't know. But here's the thing. I feel like since this isn't, like, Funko does not have the master license for DC, for sure. So I feel like DC would have to be the one to say yay or nay. And with Harley being such a popular character, I don't understand why they let this slip. I mean, honestly, like, you could take this pop, take it out of the box, and set it alongside a bunch of Baywatch pops. I don't think anyone would notice. I don't think anyone would notice that there are Baywatch pops, aren't they? I can't remember. But no one would notice. Because it doesn't, I mean, the bikini does have the red and black on it. But it still doesn't look enough like Harley. And it's, again, disappointing. So, I don't understand what messed up, who screwed up. But someone did really, really bad, and it just annoys me. So, number 2 should not come as any shock to anyone, because I bitch about this pop as often as I can. The deluxe Batman. And you already know where I'm going with this, because again, I've said it multiple times. The eyes. The eyes. Now, this is a pop I keep out of box, so I don't have the box here to show you. But this was the first of the DC Deluxe pops. They have made other ones now that are not DC, but most of these Deluxe pops are still DC. And this is based off of a very iconic comic art by Jim Lee. It's got Jim Lee's name on it. This is based off his artwork. So I feel like a little bit more justice should have been done to the execution of this pop, and that could have been done just by slanting the eyes and making him look like he's scowling. Okay? They did it with Catwoman. The Catwoman Deluxe pop has slanted eyes. The Deluxe Wonder Woman pop has slanted eyes. So why doesn't Batman? Why doesn't Batman? Here's the thing. Really and truly, when it comes down to it, pops are a form of art. This does not do justice to the art that this is based off of. And if you guys hear voices, I'm sorry. It's Halloween, and I have to go soon because my cousin's gonna be here. But yeah, I just hate it so much because it doesn't look. Batman looks more fun and cute here than scowling and mad, and that's what Batman is supposed to look like. The cute ones, again, for the SDCC bag and stuff like that, the rainbow Batman, make them wide-eyed. It looks cute. It fits. This one, not so much. It needs to be slanted. Please, give me slanted eyes on this pop. Okay, guys, so the angle may have just changed because trick-or-treat. But, so, for number 1 most annoying DC pop in my collection, and it pains me to say it, but it's Wonder Woman. So, this is the GameStop exclusive Wonder Woman from the Wonder Woman movie with her blue dress on. Okay. Trying to figure out how to start with this rant. First off, I understand that there were a lot of just, like, plain Wonder Woman for this movie. I mean, there was plenty of, there was a few other characters as well. You can see them here. So, like, Etta Candy, Hippolyta, Steve Trevor. There was a lot of extra characters in there, too. But they made a butt ton of just Wonder Woman, or Diana. And, this is the worst one. I understand them putting a little bit more thought and effort into the sculpting and poses on some, while not on others, because it's such a large line, especially when it's the same character. But at the same time, you still want to do justice to that character. This is not it. So here's the thing. So in this scene in the movie, even in the trailer, it showed this part in the trailer, she has the God Killer sword in the back of her gown. Okay, you just see the hilt coming out of her gown in the trailer and in the movie. And then the fight scene starts, and she whips it out, starts fighting. Never does she slap. I mean, honestly, I know it's not technically how it does, but honestly, it almost looks like she's slouching in here. She's not sculpted to slouch, but it looks like it. Just from the way she's holding the sword. She's holding the sword so lazily with her other hand down at her side. She looks bored as hell. It is what she looks like instead of a warrior. Now, if they had kept this same pose with her arms pretty much down to the side, and just put the sword in the back of her dress, I would say that's great. Because it's not unheard of for Funko to put pretty much little Easter eggs in the backs of their sculpts for the people who take their pops out of box. They've done it with the Krampus pop. If you've seen that pop, you can't tell from the front or from the side, but if you take it out of the box, there's a little kid poking out of the basket that he's wearing on his back. So they've been known to do that. So even though you couldn't see it, you would have been able to see it. You could barely see it probably from the side, but you would have seen it when you're taking it out, and it would have made it movie accurate. Or if you're wanting the sword to show, so hopefully it will sell more, because let's face it, swords are cool. If it's visual, people more likely to buy it. Make her pose more dynamic. Even by raising her sword and putting her other arm up just a little bit would have made this pose so much more dynamic and so much cooler. But right now she looks bored out of her freaking skull. She looks like I did in the first and only summer that I was forced into t-ball. I remember just like whacking my bat against the ground, being so damn bored, because I've never been interested in sports. Ever. My grandmother signed me up. My grandmother is super into sports, okay? And I understand, the whole, she wasn't allowed to play sports as a kid, so she kind of wanted to live through me a little bit. I did not want to do it at all. I remember distinctly being in I don't even know what they call it, the outfield? I don't know. And I was just looking at my mitt, playing with it, and the ball comes right past me. And I just look at it. I just say, hi, and it just goes on past me. And later on, they asked, why didn't you go run and get the ball? And I just sort of shrugged and said, I don't know. What I was really thinking was, I don't care. I don't give a damn, and I don't care about that ball or this game or this sport. I just don't care. I only knew 2 people, and I didn't even have friends on the team. There was one boy on the team that I was kind of friends with, and one that I at least just knew their name. Other than that, no. This is T-ball me. This is what I look like on the T-ball team. That's what this reminds me of. Reminds me of the most depressing summer of my childhood. But honestly, moving that sword into the dress would have made it so much better. And again, just the slight movement of the arms would have made this design so much better. But because she looks bored out of her mind, she doesn't want to be there. So it's just kind of annoying to see Wonder Woman like that. Because if you know the character, or you've watched the movie, you know that's not how she was actually thinking or feeling during this scene. Now, granted, pops aren't known for conveying too much emotion, obviously, but there are ways to do that other than a facial expression, even though facial expressions are needed on some. I'll stop talking about that one eventually. I feel like that one should have been number 1, but honestly, this one makes me more upset when I look at it, because again, it reminds me of the most depressing summer of my childhood. But a few little tweaks would have made that pop so much better. A few little tweaks would have made all of these pops so much better, except for the first Superman one, the number 5. That one needed a complete redesign. But a few extra shots of the spray paint, whatever, glow paint, slanted eyes, just literally 2 strokes of paint, different coloring, slightly different sculpting, and let's face it, a complete redesign would have made all these pops so much better. I'm just making a tower now. Can I do it without the glare? There we go. So, would have made all these pops so much better and so much more enjoyable for me. So, comment below. Tell me what your least favorite pop is in your collection, because Funko screwed up somehow. But you know, that being said, you guys know I'm a huge Funko fan. I'll always collect Funko for as long as they probably make it. There's been a few times that I've been wanting to like quit the hobby, and then they make something, and I'm like, nope, can't do it. But there obviously have been a few that I just do not care for. So let me know what the ones that aren't in your collection. I'm sorry if you heard someone's phone just go off. Okay, but anyway, so these were my top 5 most annoying DC pops in my collection, or least favorite DC pops in my collection. So I hope you guys enjoyed listening to me rant for a little while, and thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, like always, it's a community, not a competition. I'll see y'all later. Bye.